We've waited so long, but we'll wait forever. What's going on, people? Our blood is blue and we will leave you never, etc. Welcome back to Football Therapy, in the Stamford Bridge studio with the ghosts of goals and victories past. Walking past. The days of, the ball in the back of the net, that's what all those ghosts represent. Welcome back to Chelsea News. And we are talking today about Roman Abramovich. I know it's not good to look back, but Nizar Kinsella of the Evening Standard has wrote quotes from Sir Martin Broughton talking about Roman Abramovich's essentially final gift to Chelsea Football Club and how we're going to be taken care of for the next decade. And yes, despite that is the truth, even though we're having to endure turbulent, difficult times, and we are uncertain times as well. We don't know what's going to happen. But generally, investments there, the intentions there, and hopefully the right people are there for Chelsea. If you haven't watched my latest upload, I talked about the new Stamford Bridge Stadium. It was a heavily edited video. I spent a lot of time on it, and it's very good. It's my previous upload, the one about Stamford Bridge. Simply click on the channel name and just go on videos. Click my previous video, only if you want to. Anyway, I'm very happy to have you here on this video, so thank you for joining me. If you want to, which way? Down there is a prompt to click the like button on this YouTube video, for it takes a millisecond, and it helps me out. And subscribing and commenting and sharing with your familia also does as well. Yeah. Alright, Evening Standard, Naz Kinsella, Chelsea correspondent. Let's have a little look at what he is saying. So, of course, there's quotes by Sir Martin Broughton talking about, because he tried to buy Chelsea. He was one of the consortiums that looked like one of the favourites to buy Chelsea. So he knows about the sale, about the state of the club, the Roman Abramovich sanctions, and what went down, essentially. So let's read. Sir Martin Broughton, who was among the final bidders in the race to buy Chelsea last summer, claims Roman Abramovich's influence continues to be felt at Stamford Bridge. Oh, the Bowley Clear Lake. By the way, important to note that I recognise the controversy and problematic nature seen by some, by many from the previous owner. I am not, this video is, how do I put a disclaimer in here that is solid and concrete? I'm not endorsing any geopolitical perspective from one way or another. I'm simply, as a fan, and hopefully comedically, reacting to an article. There you go, that'll do. As me to ask my lawyers, is that cool? Sweet. Keep the lawyer locked up on the radiator. It's cheaper that way. The Bowley Clear Lake Consortium won the race to buy the Blues for £2.5 billion, although through the investment bank group, Rain. I didn't say that right. The investment bank Rain Group. That's the same thing, just the words different way around. With a further commitment to invest £1.75 billion into the club over the next decade, which they're well on their way. I mean, they've done 600 million in the transfer window. So will that leave us 1.15 billion? Guys, you spent most of our money already. So like 2.5 billion plus so come on, this is like 4.25 billion commitment investment into Chelsea Football Club. That's a lot of peas, bro. And over the next 10 years, they really haven't left much. I don't think spending is going to be an issue. I think they'll spend over that amount, considering they're going to build a new stadium, which will be in itself. Excuse me, I've got a really blocked nose, hay fever. All my hay fever sufferers out there, my heart goes out to you. So if you add the 1.5 billion pounds that was reported, that I reflected on yesterday, that will cost for the stadium, and the 600 million we've already spent, that commitment's already been surpassed. So do we not spend forever? Unless they mean like their own money on top. I mean, this is their own money on top, so it's not the club revenue. So I guess that's kind of different. Point being, they're going to spend. The decision to sell Chelsea was taken out of Abramovich's hands after he was sanctioned by the UK government following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and he didn't personally profit from the sale. Speaking at the Financial Times Business of Football Summit, Broughton, who led the consortium, including Crystal Palace investors Josh Harris and David Blitzer, explained in new detail how the new owners have to follow the Roman Abramovich blueprint. Just mute my mic while I sniff in aggressively there. He said this, quote, "The strange things was that this was a reluctant seller who was not receiving any money. So normally the price would be the ultimate dictator. It was not the ultimate dictator here. We were very much led by Rain Group, Bruce Buck, and Marina Granovskaya to bid an amount. Agreed to put an amount over the next 10 years in this piece, be it in the academy. You've got to agree to invest this much into the women's team as well." So it's good because Roman obviously set his stall out and said to Buck and Marina, who, by the way, you might not be their biggest fans. You might, for one reason, disprove of their previous ownership. Bruce Buck certainly wasn't a favourite of Chelsea fans. He sort of represented that negative element of American ownership with wanting the European Super League and doing some other stuff that wasn't great. And Marina as well. Marina was a sort of lightning rod for upset fans, although she did a lot of good negotiating work. But it seems like Roman, and they were like two of Roman's closest lieutenants with like Tenenbaum and stuff, so he probably had them two and said, "Look, I'm being cut out here. I'm not going to make any money, but I do love Chelsea. So I want to ensure whatever happens is for the best for Chelsea." He's probably looking at what was happening now and thinking, "Where's Gus Hiddink? Where's Gus Hiddink?" He must still be watching Chelsea games. Of course he is. Imagine that. What would Roman Abramovich think right now? Penny for your thoughts. Yeah. Anyway, so it's interesting that he's obviously like assigned Marina and Buck to be like, "Look, we need to do, we're probably all going to go," and they eventually did all go. We need to make sure that Chelsea's looked after here. Like, that's the priority, despite me being sanctioned. It was very focused, in fact. It was Roman trying to say to the fans, "I don't want to leave, but if I have to, whoever takes over will do what I would have done." The auction-style process saw several buyers competing against each other, including Broughton with Harris and Blitzer. He believes he was close to becoming the owner, along with the Boston Celtics and Atalanta owner Stephen Pagliuca. Do you remember this, man? Like towards the end of the race, like random bidders were popping out of nowhere, and this guy Pagliuca, he actually looked like he could be one of the favourites towards the end, but Todd Bowley and Clear Lake, just percolating under the surface, were always the clear favourite, I think. Broughton added, "Frankly, between us, the winning bidder, which is Bowley, Clear Lake, and Pagliuca, there wasn't a hair between us. The three bidders, there was little difference between the ultimate bid." So I guess what he's saying there is, financially, we were all willing to put in the same money, but it was chosen that Todd Bowley and Clear Lake were the best. I guess that's good because Egbali, who's the representative for Clear Lake, he is a football fan, which kind of gets lost in the wash a little bit. Of course, Todd Bowley's a big sports guy. He sees the value in the potential growth in the Premier League, and he believes in investment in the team. He believes in infrastructure in the team. He believes in winning titles represents success, and he believes in keeping the fan happy. Only a couple of days ago, we were talking about the FAB, the Fan Advisory Board, or whatever the hell it's called, which I don't think is just symbolic. I think they're just making good on what they genuinely want to do, which is keep the fans involved. They want what's best for Chelsea, and Roman has a successor in this new ownership group who want what's best and will invest heavily. And yeah, that's what they're doing. Now, how they're investing heavily is up for debate. I think we've bought very good players. Maybe we've overspent on some. I don't think we've overspent necessarily on the likes of Enzo Fernandez, despite him being our record signing. I think he's so young and so good. And of course, just the profile of the World Cup winner and this, that, and the other. I think I think the jury's out a little bit on like Mihailo Mudryk. I will have to see. Hopefully we can find a way to utilise him, with this coach or the next. But, I think Noni Meadowecki will be good and, whatever. I think we've generally bought good players. I think the left flank is concerning in terms of overpaying. I think everyone would agree we've overpaid for Marc Cucurella. If Mudryk, we get the best out of him for the next few years, then we won't be talking about his price tag. But Cucurella, I think, will always represent probably a bit of overspending. I don't think we've overspent on the likes of Wesley Fofana. In fact, knowing he's come from Leicester and knowing that they wanted him to cost more than £85 million, Harry Maguire, or however many millions he was, they wanted him to be around that. We got him for 69, and I think he's incredible. We've spent a lot, basically, and this is what the Roman wanted. He wanted the successor to invest heavily, and we've done that. And it's nice to hear these quotes and words from Sir Martin Broughton, basically just enforcing what a lot of us were assuming. A lot of us were thinking that was going on with the previous ownership, so it's very interesting to read those quotes. So where are we with this new ownership? They do want to keep investing in the women's team. They do want to keep investing in the academy. They've built a, scouting and footballing infrastructure. They've promoted Neil Bath, which can only be seen as an excellent move. And they had the right idea with a manager who can manage up and down and is a good coach. Despite all that, results will eventually matter. And if we lose this weekend and we get eliminated by Dortmund, I think it will be very difficult to see Graham Potter stay at Chelsea. I was listening to the Straight Out of Cobham podcast, but they were sort of almost saying that if we get eliminated from the Champions League and we lose to Leeds or whatever, that almost what's the point in sacking him, because you can't achieve anything this season and it's just going to be a mess for a new guy to come in. Why don't you just let them, at least this gaffer knows the players and doesn't upset the players and just sort of reset and wait for next season. I think the reason would be if Chelsea keep losing, we'd just descend into toxicity at Stamford Bridge. I'm no longer on Twitter, so I feel cleansed. I don't have to deal with that sewage anymore. So again, like my hay fever sufferers, heart goes out to the Twitter sufferers out there that still allow yourself to be on that platform. Yeah, man. So it's tough. I've got to beat Dirty Leeds. We'll talk about that. I may do another video later on what the gaffer has to say about that game. But if you've enjoyed this video, please do let me know by dropping a like on the video. And you're welcome to sub if you are new. I think we're about to touch that sweet 170k. That magic number. Yeah. Thanks for joining me. See you very soon and love you lots.